Hi, Jai.
Hey, Nuvia.
Shane has two questions for you. How old were you when you met Neem Karoli Baba? And is there any story that you can share about your connection with Neem Karoli Baba that helps you to persevere through the inevitable ups and downs of life?
Yeah, wow, Shane. Um, I was 19 when I met Maharaji. I didn't know that I was going to meet him. I went to India without planning to meet him, though I had heard of him through reading Ram Dass's books. So, to the second part of your question, I have to say that what keeps me really connected to Maharaji in this day and time through the ups and downs of my life, which are certainly very high and very low, is not a memory. It's sitting in front of his picture and reciting his name. And he is never not there when I do that. And it's usually quite emotional for me, and the heart connection with him that I forgot 10 minutes prior becomes very strong once again. That being said, I will share a story that was really important, at least in my understanding of my relationship with him. So Maharaji I had been with him in Vrindavan, and he had disappeared, and he told everybody to meet him in Allahabad at a certain time. Allahabad's a city in North India where the Kumbh Mela is held. So it was a little, it was about a month into my trip, I think. I was broke. My girlfriend had dumped me. I was sick. I had dysentery. And I was in Allahabad waiting to see Maharaji. I didn't even have a place to stay. I was crashing with some Australian people that I didn't even know. So every day I would go to this house to see Maharaji, and he wouldn't show up. Nobody knew when exactly he was coming, and I was pretty bummed. It was like, why did I come to India? It was one of those periods. So as usual, in the evening, I went to bed, went to sleep, went to sleeping bag in the corner of the room, and in the middle of the night, I had this dream, and in the dream, I was waiting at the railroad station in Allahabad for the train to come. And the railroad station was completely deserted, which makes you know it was a dream, because Indian stations are never deserted. But in this moment, it was. And finally, the train comes up and stops right in front of me. And stepping out of the train car, down the steps, is Maharaji, wrapped in a blanket. And he steps onto the platform, and he opened his arms and wrapped his arms in his blanket around me. And he started weeping, and I started weeping. And he was saying, finally you've come back to me. Finally you've come back. Finally you've come back. And I had the most profound feeling that this man had been my protector, my savior, for so many lifetimes. Well, I woke up, and I looked at the clock, and the clock said 1:20 a.m., something like that. And after a little while, I went back to sleep, and then in the morning I woke up and I walked over to the house where Maharaji had been expected. And everything was different. People were really going about their jobs and stuff with real intensity. And I asked a young man, well, what's going on? And he said, well, Maharaji arrived last night by himself in the Allahabad station at 1:20, and he called us to pick him up. And it was like the stamp, I knew from the dream, finally, that this was my guru. And at the time, I felt I didn't need that stamp. But I know myself, and I know the way my mind works, that over the years, a million times I would have said to myself, oh, it's just a dream, you know, forget about it, it's not real. But the fact that it was real imprinted deeply into my heart, and it sits there, that memory sits there and faces down all my doubts and all my insecurities. Thanks for asking.